The crash. The emergency beacon of the Stellar Wanderer chirped frantically as Rianan Vasquez pulled herself upright in the pilot's seat. Blood trickled from a cut on her forehead, and her flight suit was torn at the elbows. The ship's AI spoke with its usual inappropriate cheerfulness. System diagnostic complete. Current status, catastrophic failure across multiple systems. Define catastrophic, Rianan muttered, wiping blood with her sleeve. Hull integrity compromised in 12 locations. Propulsion offline. Life support functioning at 60%. Communications array completely destroyed. Also, the environmental recycler is making concerning grinding noises. Through the cracked viewport, Rianan saw only darkness and jagged stone. The rockslide had been thorough, burying most of her ship and leaving only a narrow opening that showed a sliver of alien sky. She was trapped on Draken 4, a planet that was supposed to be uninhabited. Life support estimates, she asked. At current consumption rates, approximately 48 hours. Less if you continue bleeding at that rate. Rianan pressed a medical patch to her forehead and tried to think. She'd been shot down the moment she entered the atmosphere. Someone didn't want visitors on this supposedly empty world. Now she was buried alive with a failing ship and no way to call for help. Outside, something crashed against the rocks. Then another sound, like heavy footsteps. What was that? External sensors are compromised. However, acoustic analysis suggests something large is moving around outside our position. A scraping sound echoed through the hull, followed by what sounded disturbingly like a snort. Rianan grabbed her emergency blaster, checking its charge. Half power. Then came a sound that made her freeze, a voice, deep and casual, speaking through the ship's damaged communication system. Hello. Is anyone alive in that thoroughly wrecked spacecraft? First contact. Who is this? Rianan demanded, her blaster aimed at the sealed hatch. Ah, excellent. You are alive. I'm Kale, local resident of this charming rock pile. I couldn't help but notice your rather spectacular parking mishap. Parking mishap? I was shot down. Yes, that would be the automated defense grid. Mine Corp doesn't appreciate unexpected visitors. Something about protecting their illegal mining operation and eliminating witnesses. Rianan's blood chilled. Mine Corp. This planet is supposed to be uninhabited. Officially, yes. Makes tax evasion much simpler. There was a pause. Look, your ship is rather thoroughly buried, but I believe I can help. Would you mind opening your hatch? So you can finish what the defense grid started? No thanks. A sigh came through the comm. If I wanted you dead, I could simply wait. Your life support will fail in about 40 hours. Besides, I'm the only being within several light-years who knows how to repair a quantum manifold without factory override codes. Rianan froze. How could this stranger know her ship's specifications? I can smell it, Kale continued, as if reading her thoughts. The particular blend of thorium decay and dimensional displacement. Quite distinctive, like burnt cinnamon mixed with mathematical equations. You can smell quantum mechanics through solid rock. I have certain capabilities beyond the ordinary. Now, are you going to open that hatch, or shall we continue this conversation until your oxygen runs out? Rianan looked at her dwindling life support readings. Unknown risk versus certain death wasn't much of a choice. AI, unseal the main hatch. Compliance. Note that if this results in your demise, company policy absolves all liability. The hatch loosened but couldn't open, tons of rock still pressed against it. Stand back, Kale's voice advised. This may be loud. A horrible screeching filled the ship as something incredibly strong began tearing through reinforced titanium like paper. Daylight streamed in, temporarily blinding Rianan. When her vision cleared, she found herself staring at a massive scaled head with copper-gold coloring, molten amber eyes, and teeth longer than her forearm. A dragon. An actual dragon was peering into her spaceship. "Is that a Mark 7 blaster?" the dragon asked conversationally. "Charming antique. Those couldn't penetrate my scales even at full charge, which yours clearly isn't." The revelation. "Dragons don't exist," Rianan whispered, her blaster trembling in her hands. "Evidence to the contrary is currently blocking your doorway," Kale replied dryly. "Though I'm not strictly a dragon in the mythological sense. My species evolved on Proxima Centauri's fourth moon. We simply bear a resemblance to your Earth legends. Convergent evolution is fascinating that way." "And you fix spaceships?" "Among other pursuits. I hold degrees in quantum mechanics, structural engineering, and theoretical physics. Also comparative literature, though that's less relevant to your current predicament." The dragon, Kale, pulled his massive head back slightly. "Now, if you could gather your essential belongings, we should leave. This rockslide is only temporarily stable, and your ship's structural integrity is failing." As if to emphasize his point, a distant rumble shook the buried vessel. "Where exactly would we go?" Rianan asked. "My workshop. It's 3 kilometers through the canyon. I have tools there that can help repair your ship's critical systems. Then we can properly excavate it." Rianan glanced around her cockpit. Everything truly important was in her emergency pack. "AI, can you transfer to my portable unit?" Affirmative, though the portable unit lacks environmental controls and my award-winning personality subroutines. While the consciousness transfer completed, Rianan studied Kale more carefully. He was enormous, his head alone was the size of a small shuttle, and his scales shifted from copper to burnished gold as he moved. "What's a dragon doing on an uninhabited planet anyway?" she asked. "Avoiding galactic tax authorities, mainly. Also, Mine Corp doesn't know I'm here, and I prefer to keep it that way. Their mining operation is destroying several endangered species habitats." The download completed with a cheerful ping. Rianan shouldered her pack and approached the mangled opening. "I hope you have a plan for getting me through this rockslide." Kale's mouth curved in what might have been a smile. "Of course. Hold on to my scales and try not to scream too loudly." Before she could protest, a massive clawed foot reached through the opening and gently but firmly grasped her around the waist. The next moment, she was pulled through the gap and into daylight. The sight was both awe-inspiring and terrifying. Her ship lay crushed beneath tons of stone, barely recognizable. They were in a narrow canyon with towering walls rising on either side. And clinging to one of those walls, with Rianan now securely held in one foreclaw, was Kale in his full glory. He was at least 20 meters from snout to tail, with a wingspan that could shade a village. His scales caught the light of Draken 4's twin suns, creating a dazzling display. "You might want to close your eyes for this next part," Kale suggested. The workshop. Rianan took Kale's advice and squeezed her eyes shut. She felt a powerful lurch, then wind rushing past her face as they soared high above the canyon. When she dared to look again, they were flying over a landscape of jagged mountains and deep valleys. In the distance, metallic structures glinted in the sunlight. "Mining operation," Kale explained, following her gaze. "Mine Corp has been extracting chronocrystals for 3 years. Highly illegal, of course, given that Draken 4 is a protected ecological reserve. Chronocrystals. Those are theoretical. Tell that to the 27 freighters that have departed this system loaded with them. The crystals allow for temporal manipulation, very valuable to certain unsavory organizations." They descended toward a hidden valley where Kale's workshop was cleverly concealed within what appeared to be a natural cave system. As they landed, Rianan marveled at the setup. Advanced equipment lined the walls, quantum calibrators, molecular assemblers, and devices she couldn't even identify. "Welcome to my laboratory," Kale said, gently setting her down. "Not much to look at, but it serves my purposes." Rianan activated her portable AI unit. "This is impressive. You could repair almost any ship with this equipment." I've helped several stranded travelers over the years. Always quietly, of course. Mine Corp's security forces aren't known for their diplomatic approach. Kale moved to a massive workbench designed for his size and began examining readouts from Rianan's ship data. Your quantum manifold is reparable, but you'll need a new communications array and hull patches. The real problem is getting your ship out from under those rocks. How long will repairs take? 3 days for the critical systems. But extraction. Kale paused, his golden eyes thoughtful. That's where we have a problem. Moving that much stone will attract Mine Corp's attention. They monitor seismic activity across the continent. Rianan felt her heart sink. So I'm trapped here? Not necessarily. Kale's expression became determined. I've been watching Mine Corp's operations for months, documenting their illegal activities. Perhaps it's time to take action. Their main communication hub is poorly defended. If we could disable it, they'd be cut off from calling for reinforcements. You want to attack a corporate mining operation? I want to level the playing field. With their communications down, we could extract your ship and transmit evidence of their illegal activities to the Galactic Council before they can stop us. Rianan looked at the dragon who was offering to risk his peaceful existence to help a complete stranger. Why would you do this for me? Kale was quiet for a moment, his scales shifting to a deeper gold. Because sometimes, doing the right thing requires taking a stand. And because no one should be trapped when freedom is possible. The portable AI unit chimed in. I calculate a 67% probability of success, assuming optimal conditions and no unforeseen complications. Those are better odds than staying buried, Rianan said. What's your plan? Freedom and friendship. The plan was audacious in its simplicity. While Kale created a diversion by sabotaging Mine Corp's main power grid, Rianan would infiltrate their communication hub and upload the evidence they'd compiled. Then, during the chaos, they'd extract her ship. 2 days later, everything was ready. Kale had worked tirelessly to repair her ship's essential systems, crafting replacement parts with impossible precision. The quantum manifold hummed with renewed life, and new hull patches gleamed silver against the old metal. Remember, Kale said as they approached the mining complex at dawn, wait for my signal. When the lights go out, you'll have exactly 12 minutes before their backup generators activate. Rianan checked her equipment one final time. What about you? Those mining mechs could be dangerous. Kale's laugh rumbled like distant thunder. I appreciate your concern, but I've been avoiding corporate security for 3 years. A few mining robots won't present much challenge. They separated at the complex perimeter. Rianan watched Kale disappear into the maze of mining equipment, his scales shifting to match the metallic surroundings with chameleon-like precision. She'd learned that dragons had many abilities that Earth legends had never imagined. The lights went out exactly on schedule. Rianan slipped through the darkened facility, her modified tools making quick work of the security locks. Inside the communication hub, she connected her portable AI to the main system. Uploading evidence files now, the AI reported. Transmitting to Galactic Council, Environmental Protection Agency, and 17 major news networks. Alarms began blaring as backup power activated. Through the windows, Rianan could see mining mechs converging on Kale's position, their searchlights cutting through the dawn gloom. But instead of fleeing, the dragon seemed to be herding them away from the communication hub, protecting her escape route. Upload complete, her AI announced. All evidence transmitted successfully. Rianan ran for the exit, arriving just as Kale landed beside the building. His scales were scorched in places, but he seemed unharmed. Time to go, he said. The extraction crew should be starting about now. They flew back to the canyon where Rianan's ship waited. Kale had arranged for several of his automated systems to begin moving the rockslide using carefully controlled explosions. By the time they arrived, most of the debris had been cleared. Your ship is free, Kale announced, setting her down beside the battered but functional vessel. The quantum manifold is calibrated, life support is fully operational, and I've upgraded your navigation system. Rianan ran her hands over the hull patches, marveling at the craftsmanship. I don't know how to thank you. Seeing Mine Corp's operation shut down will be thanks enough. The Galactic Council moves quickly when presented with evidence of illegal temporal manipulation. As if summoned by his words, several Council enforcement ships dropped out of hyperspace, their hulls gleaming in the morning sunlight. That's my cue to become scarce, Kale said. Official contact with unregistered sapient species requires far too much paperwork. Will I see you again? The dragon's golden eyes held warmth. The galaxy is vast, but travelers' paths cross in unexpected ways. Perhaps our orbits will intersect again someday. Rianan climbed into her ship, running through pre-flight checks. Everything was perfect, better than perfect. Kale had improved systems she hadn't even known needed improvement. As she lifted off, she saw Kale watching from a distant peak, his form majestic against the alien sky. She opened a calm channel. Thank you, my friend. Safe travels, Rianan Vasquez. May your engines burn bright and your manifold stay stable. She set course for the nearest inhabited system, her ship running smoother than it ever had. Behind her, Council ships were already landing at the mining complex. Mine Corp's illegal operation was finished. In the months that followed, Rianan often found herself looking up at unfamiliar stars, wondering about a dragon with degrees in engineering and a heart brave enough to help a stranger. She'd learned that the galaxy was full of wonders that defied explanation, and sometimes, the most incredible friendships came from the most impossible circumstances. Her ship's AI had kept detailed scans of Kale's modifications, and she'd shared them with several other stranded pilots over the years, always with the same message: a friend taught me that sometimes, doing the right thing means taking a stand. And somewhere in the vast darkness between stars, on a planet that was now truly protected, a dragon continued his work, guardian of the wild places, helper of the lost, and proof that heroes come in the most unexpected forms. The end.